Number 0, David Nunez. Number 1, Ryan Rossage. Number 2, Will Bruner. Number 14, Pat Sweeney. And number 23, Aditya Pandia. Head coach, Bob Van Sanders. And now the starting lineup for your Fort Lee Bridgman. Number 3, Nave Murray. Number 4, Guy Vickers. Number 5, Max Greenberg. Number 10, Jake Ehrlich. And number 15, Jacob Greenberg. Head coach, Josh Ford. At this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
Good afternoon and welcome in to East Gymnasium on the campus of Fort Lee High School for our 5th place game in this 2024 Jack Riley Holiday Basketball Tournament, as it's a matchup featuring the Riverdale Golden Hawks, 2-1 on the season, and the Fort Lee Bridgman, 4-1 overall this year. Hello everybody, I'm Dan Long, joined alongside by Dimitri Nanis and Renee Matisic. Glad that you could join us on our continued exclusive broadcast coverage here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Riverdale went 1-1 so far in this tournament, losing in their first game against Wayne Valley 81-55, but bouncing back with a 63-46 win against North Bergen. Fort Lee started off with a 62-60 loss in overtime in their first game of the tournament against Passaic, bounced back with a 51-43 win against Bergenfield. Fort Lee is going to be in their road white with the orange numerals, and Riverdale in their home black with the gold numerals. Opening tip controlled by Riverdale. Led by head coach Rob Van Saters, Josh Ford, Fort Lee alum, in charge of his alma mater. Straightaway three, no good that time by Pat Sweeney. It'll be last touch out of bounds off of Fort Lee. Last, and possession will stay with Riverdale. 2-1 on the season. They open up their season with a win at home against Dumont before participating in this Jack Riley Holiday Tournament. Adita Bendaya has been the main focal point of Riverdale's offense throughout this tournament. 24 points in his last game against North Bergen, 21 in a losing effort against Wayne Valley. And Guy Vickers is going to be the leader for Fort Lee. And there is the aforementioned Vickers skying high for the rebound. Fort Lee's first time on offense here. Nave Murray giving it off. On the baseline, Jacob Greenberg getting it up top to Max Greenberg, now around the horn. Ehrlich, as all the Bridgemen have touched it. Vickers underneath and in. Patient offense there for Guy Vickers, getting around the Riverdale big man, and Vickers has staked Fort Lee out to an early 2-0 advantage. Vickers had 30 points in the opening game against Passaic, 16 points against Bergenfield. Pendaya trying to fade away with a three. No good. Rebounded by Jacob Greenberg, handing it off to his brother Max. Here's Vickers again. Good lower body strength. Trying to pound down low, and once again, easy pickings there inside for Guy Vickers. He is methodically back down. Adita Pendaya, who's taller, and is just having his way with him in the first two possessions. 4-0 lead for Fort Lee. Rossick taking his man off the dribble, giving it over to Nunez. Nunez getting it down low to Pendaya, who gets called for the traveling violation. Fort Lee has won 4 of their first 5 games of the season. Wins against Paramus, Passaic Valley, and Passaic Charter to go along with their win here in the tournament against Bergenfield. Their only loss, a 2-point loss around the buzzer in overtime. Jacob Greenberg, turnaround shot contested, clean denial. That block shot given over now to Riverdale, as Riverdale trying to charge down the other way. David Nunez, 10-point effort in the last time out. That shot no good, tipped around by Ehrlich. Sweeney gets it and has the floater. Doesn't fall either. Pendaya swarmed underneath the basket. Nunez getting it up top to Sweeney. Sweeney at 16 points against North Bergen. He's the sharpshooter from deep, and he'll bank it in. It'll rattle in for the first 3 points of the game for Riverdale, as they trail by 1, 4-3. 3 minutes gone by here in the first quarter of play. Max Greenberg along to the near side. Will get it to Guy Vickers. Ave Murray giving it over in the corner to Jake Ehrlich. Vickers trying to back down, but a double team comes. Here's Ehrlich from deep. Ehrlich no good off the back iron. Good rebounding effort there by Nunez, keeping Murray off the offensive glass. Sweeney down the other way. Will Bruner getting it back up top. Sweeney inside. Pendaya, hook shot, no good. Good rebound there by Max Greenberg. Great defense to start off this game for both teams. Ehrlich with the dribble drive, giving it off now to Jacob Greenberg. Jacob Greenberg coming off a 9-point performance against Bergenfield. Max Greenberg feeding down low to Vickers. Vickers denied after he was trying to go back to the near side rather than reversing it to the far side of the rim. Pendaya was right there to meet him at the rim. Clean block. Rossick, nice cut underneath, and Rossick gives Riverdale their first lead of the game. 5 unanswered points for the Golden Hawks, who now take a 5-4 advantage. That's the midway point of the first quarter. Step back jumper, no good. Short by Max Greenberg. Nunez with the rebound. Pendaya trying to direct his team as he was trying to hook that pass over to the far side. Sweeney was going one way, the pass went another, as that's caromed out of bounds for a Riverdale turnover, and possession going back over to Fort Lee. Points hard to come by so far in this game for both teams. LeVay Murray kicking it out into the corner. Back to Murray. And he'll be called for the traveling violation. Ave Murray, who had 6 points in the win against Bergenfield. You'll watch Nunez, and anticipating that play was Max Greenberg, but could not toe the line on the near sideline that goes out of bounds off of him. So possession will stay with Riverdale, leading by 1, 5-4. Sweeney to the near side. Pendaya, hook pass. Rossick in the lane, no good. Vickers with a rebound. Guy Vickers with his 2 early baskets with 50 points over 3 games now here in this tournament. It's going to be a 5-second violation whistled against Fort Lee Ryan Rossick, so good as an on-ball defender, and as I mentioned in the last couple of days, this is a compliment. He's a pest. He's one of those guys that gets under your skin if he's not on your team. If he's on your team, then you absolutely love him because he's the energy guy for this Riverdale side, and he likes to play the villain as well. Clapping routinely in front of his defender. Will Bruner, who had 8 points in the first game against Wayne Valley. Only 1 point the last time out against North Bergen, though. Sweeney. Bendaya handing off. Sweeney looking for an outlet. Great half-court defense. Nunez tries his luck from 3. It hit into the stanchion atop the rim, and that'll be possession upcoming now here for Fort Lee. Richmond started off this game leading 4-0 and back-to-back conversions on backdowns by Vickers to begin the game, and they've run dry since then. Here's Jacob Greenberg, fadeaway jumper, no good. Riverdale has done a great job of rebounding, making it one and done. No offensive boards for Fort Lee. Sweeney was lost in transition, and he could not get the three-point shot to fall. There's an injured Riverdale player behind the play. It's right now a 5-on-4 going on. Vickers trying to carve out some space. Top of the key, long-range 3 from Max Greenberg. Max Greenberg knocking down the three-point shot. Again, Riverdale was playing kind of a 5-on-4 as Will Bruner was hurt behind the play and was not getting the attention of the referee, and they played on. So Max Greenberg knocks down the three-point shot. That for Max is his first 3 points of this game. He had 9 points in the first game of the tournament against Passaic, but fouled out. Had foul trouble against Bergenfield and finished with 7 points in the win. Richmond back in front, 7-5. Closing into the final minute of the first quarter. Here's Christian Bruden coming into the game off the Fort Lee bench. He's the energizer, the defensive maestro for the Bridgemen this season. And that was a rattled shot, in and out, halfway down for Nick Clark. Jacob Greenberg, open for 3. Room and time, and Jacob Greenberg follows his brother Max with a 3-ball of his own. And Fort Lee extends the lead now to 10-5. Rossick looking to go backdoor. Active hands there by Greenberg. Throws it down the floor to Bruden. And a timeout's going to be granted to Josh Ford, who wants to save possession for his team with 31.8 seconds left to go in the first quarter of play. 10-5 lead for Fort Lee as you're watching all the action exclusively here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. (10-5) lead for Fort Lee with 31.8 seconds left to go here in the first quarter of play. Backdoor, good find. Jacob Greenberg off the assist from Max Greenberg. And Fort Lee has raced out to a 7-point advantage. Murray now defending on the ball against Rossick. Fort Lee responding after Riverdale had taken a brief lead at 5-4. An 8-0 run for the Bridgemen. And it looks like it's going to be a foul whistled against Riverdale, which will stop the clock with 3.3 seconds left to go. That is the first foul of the game. Did they call a foul? They did. Sweeney picked up the foul, his first, team's first. Here's Murray to knock down the 3 just before the buzzer as it ricochets off of the top of the backboard and out of play. But that will end a first quarter where Fort Lee dominated on defense, allowing only 5 points to Riverdale as they'll take a 12-5 lead after the first quarter of play. And thank you to all of our proud sponsors for allowing us to bring you the sights and sounds of the 2024 Jack Riley Holiday Tournament. Riverdale only 2 made shots in that entire first quarter of play. A three-pointer from Pat Sweeney and a finish by Ryan Rossig, accounting for the 5 total points. Fort Lee outscoring Riverdale 12-5 in that first quarter of play. They'll start with possession on offense to begin the second. They are in the whites and orange. Riverdale defending in the black and gold. Dan Long, Renee Matisich, and Dimitri Nanis, part of our broadcast team here. Guy Vickers again maneuvering his way inside whenever he's had an opportunity to just go one-on-one. Riverdale has no answer for number 4 for Fort Lee. A couple times after he posted up inside, double team came to him by the end of the quarter. Outstanding recovery on defense there by Christian Bruden. And Fort Lee is swarming on defense to begin this game. Jacob Greenberg looking for an outlet, gets it to his brother Max. Greenberg's combined for 8 of the team's 12 points in the first quarter. Here's Vickers on the baseline. Pantaya trying to poke it away from him. Entry onto the near side block for Vickers. Extra pass. Oh, unselfish basketball. Guy Vickers with the extra pass, finding the cutting Jacob Greenberg on the baseline. Jacob Greenberg with 7 points here in the first half. Fort Lee playing some high-level basketball, leading 16-5, and Sweeney was left open for 3. His second made 3 of the first half for the Golden Hawks. A much-needed basket to stop that run. It was a 12-0 run before that point. Fort Lee leading 16-8. Jacob Greenberg bodying up against the defender. Shot off the mark. Guy Vickers with the offensive rebound got stripped as he was trying to go back up front with it. Ehrlich waiting to come back into the game for the Bridgemen, as Murray will come off the floor for Coach Ford. Max Greenberg trying to hook that pass inside to Guy Vickers, and it's knocked out of bounds. Last touch off of Fort Lee's center. A turnover will give possession back over to Riverdale. Being doubled up right now in this game as we're closing in on 2 minutes gone by here in the second quarter of play. Hustle play again by Bruden. Who else gets dirty on the floor? Now Ehrlich open for 3 in the corner. No good. Max Greenberg gets called for the over-the-back foul. And those are the type of fouls that have hurt Max Greenberg out in the last couple of games and has gotten him in foul difficulty. His first foul and first team foul for Fort Lee in the second quarter. Bruden hounding all over Josh Oliker. Max Greenberg was close to another foul and then a late whistle. And there's the bump, and just like that, Max Greenberg has committed 2 back-to-back fouls. And that's his second personal foul. So he has to be very careful if Coach Ford elects to keep him in this game. Once again, that's where that silly over-the-back foul the last time leads to all sorts of problems, because then when you have a contested opportunity like you just had, and he got called rightfully so for the bum foul, now he's playing in foul difficulty for the rest of this first half. Coach Ford putting the trust in him that he's not going to pick up another one. Playing with 2 fouls. Bruden anticipating. Here's the turnover. Bruden had it tipped away after he was trying to sprint his way down the other way for a lay-in. 5:29 left to go here in the first half of play. Fort Lee on top of Riverdale by a score of 16-8 in this, the 5th place game of the 2024 Jack Riley Holiday Tournament. Bad entry pass, an inbounds pass that goes away from the hands of Guy Vickers out of bounds. Another turnover for the Bridgemen. Fort Lee led 12-5 after the first quarter of play. Taya getting it back up top. Here's Rossick. Pantaya has yet to score in this game for Riverdale. Bruner back into the game. Jun stops, And it gets tied up on the play. Possession error will keep it here. Sweeney's got 6 of his team's 8 points. Throw it in the backcourt. And that's going to be a backcourt violation after Rossick got a piece of it. Christian Bruton has been all over the floor yet again here defensively for the Bridgemen. Providing that energy, that spark, and that attention to detail on defense off of the Fort Lee bench. Not really seen as a scorer. He does all his dirty work really on the other end. Did have a double-double, though, in the last game against Bergenfield. He was outstanding. He had 10 points. Here he is now. And he was trying to clear out, and he connected with an elbow to the face of Ryan Rossick, and he'll be picking up the offensive foul after Rossick was right there trying to procure the steal. Injury on the floor. We'll take the injury timeout. 4:41 left to go in the second quarter of play. Fort Lee on top of Riverdale by a score of 16-8. See the officials talking things over, and they will call just a simple foul against Christian Bruton. I don't know if they were conferring and maybe thinking that was flagrant. Some of the Riverdale fans were hoping that it was going to be foul shots and the ball coming up for the Golden Hawks. Bruton defending against Nunez. Sweeney getting it over to Nunez. Under 4.5 minutes left to go in the first half. Nunez swinging that pass to Sweeney in the corner, sets in, fires from deep, and splashes home his third 3 of the first half. That's Sweeney, who had 1 3-pointer connected on against North Bergen, already with 3 threes here in the first half against Fort Lee. Ehrlich leaving it off for Jacob Greenberg, sees the C's part, but he can't get the layup to go. Pendaya got fouled after trying to clear away a couple of defenders draped on either side of him. And the foul is starting to pile up here for the Bridgemen. That is their 4th team foul as we're at the midway point of the second quarter. Vickers picked up his first personal foul. So no more fouls to give for Fort Lee. Foul shots the rest of the half for Riverdale. Down by 5. Trailed by as many as 10. Sweeney inside to Pendaya. Rushed that shot. Fouled his own miss. And is that going to count as an and 1 or just foul on the floor? Should be foul shots anyway in this quarter, as that's the 5th team foul. That'll be the 2nd personal foul issued against Christian Bruton. So Pendaya will try to get to his first point of the game here. He was so good at the foul line in the last game against North Bergen. Adida Pendaya, the senior, went a perfect 6 for 6 at the line on the way to a 24-point performance. Goes 2 for 2 there. So he's on the board. Riverdale going on a run here. They're back to within 3 of Fort Lee at 16-13. Murray got blocked on his way to the rim. Last touch out of bounds off of Bruner. Possession will stay with Fort Lee. Haven't heard from Guy Vickers in a while. Can they get it to him on the near side block? And it looks like it's going to be a foul whistled on the floor against Riverdale, and that will be only the 2nd Golden Hawk foul of the second quarter. Pendaya is called for the foul, the holding call, his first. Vickers has 6 points here in the first half for Fort Lee. Max Greenberg in the corner. Dumped down low to Vickers again, across the lane. Tried to outlet the pass, it got intercepted by Clark. Pendaya the other way in transition, running the floor. He's got a quick 4 points. And Riverdale, that was just down by 8 moments ago, have trimmed that 16-8 deficit to a 16-15 margin. Now Nunez getting dirty on the floor, produces the turnover. Vickers with the interception. Max Greenberg, open for 3. He was slow to get to his feet after he had the ball stolen away from him, and that led to him being wide open once Vickers intercepted the pass at midcourt. Second 3 of the first half for Max Greenberg. Pendaya handing it off to Clark. Clark being hounded. There's the switch. Pendaya was open down low after Ehrlich had switched with Vickers. And Adida Pendaya now is coming to life after being held scoreless in the first quarter. He's got 6 quick points. Max Greenberg trying to throw it all the way back across the middle of the lane, and his brother Jacob tracked it down. 2-point lead for Fort Lee. Hand off to Murray. Murray contested in the air, drew the contact. And Nave Murray will head to the foul line to shoot 2 with 2:08 left to go here in the second quarter of action. First foul shot rattled in by Nave Murray, the senior, who again had 6 points in the win against Bergenfield last time out on Saturday. Fort Lee went 1-2 in this tournament a season ago. Murray knocking down a pair at the foul line. Good foul shooting there for the senior. 21-17 lead for Fort Lee, closing in the final 2 minutes of the first half. Rossig back into the game after he received that elbow on the clear-out attempt by Bruden. Down low to Joyce. Joyce working it around to Sweeney. Sweeney sets and fires from deep off the back iron. Bruden with the rebound. He got hit low and no foul whistled. Not a surprise there at the no call. Only 3 team fouls in the quarter for Riverdale. Fort Lee over the limit. Max Greenberg over to Bruden. 90 seconds left to go in the half. Jump stop by Murray, kicked out in the corner. Max Greenberg did not look to shoot it. Had an open 3 if he wanted it. And he's knocked in a pair, but elected to just keep on running the offense. Rossick was trying to come from the blind side, but is going to get called for the reach-in foul after Vickers was trying to set up shop on that far side block. For Rossick, that is his first. That is the team's 4th. No more fouls to give now for Riverdale. Any subsequent foul would send Fort Lee to the foul line for the rest of the half. Murray off to the near side. Greenberg down low. And there's Nunez coming from the blind side for the turnover. Didn't work the last time with a foul, but that time it was a good pilfer. Joyce tried to curl it in, but no go. Rebounded by Vickers. Greenberg in the open floor, picked up by Rossick. 50 seconds left to go in the second quarter. Murray handing it off now to Jacob Greenberg. Greenberg looking up top for Max. Max sets and fires from deep, nearly banked in the 3. Rebound taken in by Bruner. Here comes Riverdale the other way. Joyce left alone inside and curls it in. Reagan Joyce just ran it right down the middle and nobody picked him up. Back up center with his first 2 points of the game. It's a 2-point lead for Fort Lee. They're led by 7 after 1. Vickers again being hounded from behind. Bruden across the lane. Nice move there for Christian Bruden. Took his defender off the dribble. Here's Rossick. Time a-wasting. Rossick in the corner. Bruner pump faked. Got the shot up and was short. And Fort Lee will take a 4-point lead into the halftime locker room as they lead 23-19 over Riverdale. Stick around, fans, as we'll be back for the start of the second half of play here from East Gymnasium as you're watching exclusive broadcast coverage of the 2024 Jack Riley Holiday Basketball Tournament here courtesy of the Fort Lee Athletic Department. Welcome back, everybody, to East Gymnasium as we're moments away from the resumption of play in the start of the second half. Fort Lee on top of Riverdale by a score of 23-19 at the break. Taking a look at the stats from the first half of play. Riverdale led by Pat Sweeney's 9 points on 3 threes that he made in that first half. Adita Pendaya with 6 points as well. Those were the two main scorers for Riverdale, scoring 15 of the team's 19 total points. Jacob Greenberg, the leading scorer for Fort Lee, with 7. Max Greenberg, Guy Vickers, each with 6 points apiece. Nave Murray with 2. Christian Bruden with 2 as well. Ryan Rossig and Reagan Joyce, the other 2 Riverdale players who each had 2 points apiece in that first half. Fort Lee will start with possession to begin the second half. They're in their road white. Riverdale defending in their home black. Murray up top to Greenberg. Inside to Vickers. Vickers left the shot short. Murray with great hustle play underneath the rim to save possession. Vickers got the shot he wanted but left it short. Ehrlich, good entry pass down low in the block. Vickers tried to turn around and then was called for the late travel call. Riverdale collapsing in a couple times now on Guy Vickers. That's going to be expected the way that he easily backed down Pendaya in the first half to get the game's first 2 made baskets. Nunez was caught up in the air, nearly traveled. Fort Lee's swarming defense has really wreaked havoc on this Riverdale side that has been averaging just under 56 points per game to start off this season. Held to only 19 points in that entire first half. Riverdale's defense has been solid, though, as well, allowing only 23 points to Fort Lee. It's been a rock fight here between these two teams. A turnover for the Golden Hawks on their first opening possession of the third quarter. Max Greenberg picking up his dribble, getting it over to the near corner to Jacob, who sets and fires from deep, no good. Murray trying to swoop in, but Nunez doing a good job of holding on to the loose ball rebound. Nunez going coast to coast. Pendaya hook shot, left short, rebounded by Ehrlich. Jacob Greenberg handing it off, passing it to Max. Max now looking for an outlet, back up top to Jacob. Lets the defender fly by him, and Jacob goes right to the rim with a finger roll attempt. Got fouled in the act of shooting, and that'll send Jacob Greenberg to the foul line to shoot 2 with 6:29 left to go here in the third quarter of play. Foul went against Ryan Rossig, his second. Jacob Greenberg sinking the first foul shot. He's got 8 points. Scored 12 points on Friday night against Passaic in that overtime loss. 9 points in the last game against Bergenfield. Goes 1 of 2 at the line. He's got 8. Nunez might have gotten away with that one. He kind of lost it in the transfer, and Sweeney was trying to go for his 4th main 3 of the game. Tracked down by Max Greenberg. Weaving his way through. Here's Ehrlich. Hard dribble across the lane. Nice running layup there for Jake Ehrlich. Didn't settle for the jump shot. Instead put his head down and steamed his way right to the rim. Pendaya has the mismatch inside, but he had a tip off of his hands out of bounds. Another turnover for Coach Rob Van Sater's Riverdale Golden Hawks on offense. They have had all sorts of difficulty in trying to solve this Riverdale or this Fort Lee defense. That time they had a mismatch as Vickers was guarding out on the perimeter, and they still couldn't get it to their big man cleanly. Max Greenberg trying to carve his way down low. Turnaround shot inside, high off the glass and good. Max Greenberg just burrowed his way inside. That will elicit a timeout taken by Riverdale as the lead has now grown to 9, 28-19 here in the third quarter of play. Fort Lee 2-1 this season here at home. They opened up with a thrilling come-from-behind victory against Paramus, 40-39 on opening night on December 19th. Max Greenberg knocked in a 3 just before the buzzer sounded to give Fort Lee the come-from-behind victory. They then lost in overtime against Passaic. The game was tied at 60-all, and Fort Lee threw away a pass that was turned into a layup the other way. But Passaic won with 0.8 seconds left to go in overtime. They bounced back, Fort Lee did, with a win in their last game on Saturday against Bergenfield, 51-43. Now trying to take home 5th place in this tournament. Nice feed inside. Sweeney getting it into the hands of Pandaya, right open in front of the rim. He's got 8 points. Max Greenberg. Here's Jacob. Drawing the defense, handing off for Murray. Jump stop across the lane. Murray outlets it up top to Max Greenberg. Murray gets it back. Nunez. Great on-ball defense, and that's an offensive foul drawn by Rossig as Murray was out of control. And Rossig paying the price here today. He's gotten a couple of elbows to the face. That time he took it to the chin. And Rossig draws the offensive foul against Murray. Possession goes back over to Riverdale. As that foul went against Murray, his first, team's first of the second half. Across the lane, right to the rim, but denied entry on the block by Vickers. That was Joseph Salick, his first layup attempt of the game. Christian Bruden into the game for Fort Lee. Here's Ehrlich for 3. Got it! Jake Ehrlich opening up his offense here in the third quarter. He's got 5. Big three-pointer knocked in by Ehrlich, who many are thinking could be something pretty special here as an outside shooter for Fort Lee. Sophomore now extending his defense as well as we're coming up on the midway points of the third quarter. And Bruden trying to produce the steal, but instead drew the foul. And I think for Christian Bruden, that is going to be his 3rd personal foul. It is for Bruden, foul number 3. He's got to be careful now. He plays an aggressive brand of basketball, but he's now picked up 3 fouls as he is going every step of the way with Nunez. Nunez trying to initiate that contact, looking backdoor for Bruner, and Bruner lays it in just before Guy Vickers could get there for the shot block. Great 2-man game there and 2-man offense for Riverdale. 31-23, lead for Fort Lee. Bruden across the lane. Here's Ehrlich. Trying to go back-to-back with 3s. No good. Vickers with a rebound. To Ehrlich inside the lane. Kicked around. Riverdale scrambling. Ehrlich for the corner 3. Got it! Jake Ehrlich heating up. He's got 8, all of which have come here in the third quarter. 34-23 lead now for Fort Lee. Fort Lee bench getting loud here, trying to cheer on their Bridgman. Sweeney breaking the full court pressure. Easy for the layup and the finger roll finish. Matt Sweeney now has 11 in this game, the leading scorer for Riverdale. Offense starting to flow here between both teams after it was really stagnant offense for much of the first half. Bruden lost his balance. Ball is loose and good there play by Riverdale's Salick. Diving on the floor, getting dirty on the hardwood. Backdoor cut by Riverdale. Vickers times it this time to pin it against the glass for the block. The back door was open early and often for Riverdale in their win against North Bergen. Vickers powers his way inside, and that is just bully ball underneath Guy Vickers. Getting the points there, and is that going to be a technical foul also against Vickers? So it looked like it was a technical foul issued against Vickers after he had bowled his way in for his 8th point. So that's going to give Pandaya chances at the foul line, and he misfires on his first one. And Pandaya missing both of those opportunities. Missed opportunity there for Riverdale after that technical foul had given Riverdale a chance to get right back in this one. 36-25 lead for Fort Lee with 2:23 left to go in the third quarter. Guy Vickers with 8 points in this game. Jake Ehrlich has exploded for 8 points in this third quarter alone. Jacob Greenberg also with 8. Joyce into the game. Pendaya comes off, and Vickers forces the deflection into the corner. With that technical foul, that also counts as a personal foul for Guy Vickers. So that was his second, team's third of the third quarter. Riverdale looking for a spark here. Can they get it to their sharpshooter in Sweeney? They tried to feed Joyce, but it got deflected away. Jacob Greenberg in the open floor. Transition three. Got it! Jacob Greenberg decided to uncork that deep one, and he knocks it down. His first made three of the game. He's got a game-high 11. And Fort Lee out to their largest lead of the contest at 14, and Sweeney just once again sailing to the rim. Uncontested lay-in. Sweeney's got 13. He's the high water man for all players in this game. Murray open on the near side, and he rattles in the three ball. Nave Murray with 5 points here for Fort Lee. His first made three of the game. 42-27. Riverdale can't be content with just trading buckets. That's a big answer, though, for David Nunez. But can they get stops on this end of the floor? Back and forth we go as the scoring is picked up considerably here. 12-point lead for Fort Lee. Down in the post to Vickers. Vickers, jump stop inside the lane, and one! Guy Vickers with 10 points in this game. As Joyce was defending from behind, he got to his spot across the lane. Jun stopped, and Vickers went up with it, took the hoop and the harm, and now has a chance at a traditional three-point play with 66 seconds left to go here in the third quarter of action. Joyce got called for the foul, his first, team second. Vickers, too strong on the foul shot. And then it's going to be a reach-in foul against Fort Lee. That foul will be charged against Jake Ehrlich. For Ehrlich, that is going to be his first, team's fourth. So Fort Lee with no more fouls to give here in the quarter. It's going to be foul shots the rest of the way on any Bridgman foul in this third quarter. Rossick will receive the inbounds pass. Ehrlich with a steal. Ehrlich jump stops, and he's trying to go for the and one as Rossick fouls him. Jake Ehrlich has been a difference in this game, a difference maker for the Bridgman. He was scoreless at halftime, and the sophomore has come alive in a big way. 8 points in the quarter, a couple of great defensive plays. Rossick picked up the foul, his third. And Ehrlich will sink the foul shot to give him 9 points in the quarter. The lead has grown to 15 now, 45-30 for Fort Lee. Ehrlich with a 10-point quarter for the Bridgman. 46-30, largest lead of the game now for Fort Lee at 16. Trying to go to 2-1 in this tournament and go to 5-1 to start off this season. Rossick floated that one, nearly got lodged in between the rim and the backboard. Max Greenberg weaving his way up, hounded on the defensive side by Nunez. And a timeout granted to Coach Ford, who wants to talk things over with 33.9 seconds left to go in the third quarter. This was a 4-point lead for Fort Lee at halftime, and they have exploded here in the third quarter to take a 46-30 lead. As we near the end of the third quarter, we'd like to thank all of our great sponsors as shown here on your screen who help make these broadcasts not only for this holiday tournament possible, but also broadcast throughout the course of the athletic year in the fall, winter, and spring seasons. We'd like to thank all of these proud sponsors of Fort Lee Bridgman Athletics and the specific sponsors that bring you the Jack Riley Holiday Tournament. Bridgman scored 23 points total in the first half. They have struck for 23 points in this third quarter alone, and they still have some more time to put some more points on the board. Coming up on the final 30 seconds of the third quarter. Rossick extending its defense. Here's Jacob Greenberg, launches from deep, but he sinks another one. His second three of the quarter, and Fort Lee has reined it in. 26 points in the third quarter. They've exploded offensively. Backdoor look, Bruner to the rim, lost it in the air, and a late whistle, and it's going to be a push call underneath. And is that going to go against Vickers? If it is, that is his third personal foul. That is the call. Push foul underneath against Vickers. He now has 3 with 11.5 seconds left to go, and Will Bruner will head back to the foul line. So as we've seen in the last 2 days, Riverdale has been at its best offensively when they've just been deciding to cut back door against the opposing defenses. As Bruner swishes in the foul shot to give him 3 points in the game. Bruner knocks down a pair at the foul line. 49-32, 10 seconds left to go in the third. Jacob Greenberg looking for his third three, no good. Nunez with a rebound, he has time, launches from half court, and misfires to the left side. And Fort Lee dominant in that third quarter will take a 17-point lead into the start of the fourth here at home as they're trying to protect this house and go to 5-1 on the season. Stick around, fans, as we'll be back for the start of the fourth quarter of play as you're watching the 2024 Jack Riley Holiday Basketball Tournament exclusively here, courtesy of the Fort Lee Athletic Department. Jake Ehrlich came alive in that third quarter, 10 points for the Bridgmen. Leading scorers Jacob Greenberg with 14, Guy Vickers with 10. And Fort Lee outscored Riverdale 26-13 in that third quarter. Now Riverdale has to get going. Sweeney from the outside, no good. Vickers with a rebound. Max Greenberg down the other way. Try to fit it in a tight window. Good active hand to the passing lane by the Golden Hawks as they force the turnover. Sweeney with a game-high 13 on this end of the floor for Riverdale. Adita Pendaya with 8 points. And Joyce will knock in the long-range two-point shot. Reagan Joyce now with 4 points off of the Riverdale bench. Still plenty of time for Riverdale to get back in this one. Ehrlich sets and fires. No good. Tipped out underneath. Last touch off of Bruden. And possession will go over to Riverdale. Golden Hawks looking for their third win in 4 games to start off this season. Pendaya back into the game. Looks for the cutting Sweeney underneath. Ehrlich does a good job of not fouling initially. Pendaya with the scramble inside. The turnaround hook shot falls. He's got 10. Had 21 points in the first game of the tournament, 24 in the second game. Now up to 10 points in this one. Bruden getting hounded, and that's going to be a reach-in foul against Riverdale. And a technical foul has been issued against Ryan Rossick. He's been clapping it up at opponents all tournament long. It was a matter of time until one of the officials saw him. I don't know why he was clapping, too, against Bruden, seeing that the foul was against Riverdale to begin with. And the first foul shot is knocked down by Jacob Greenberg to give him 15 points. who was the initial foul on. So the initial foul was against Rossick, and then to make matters worse for himself, he picked up the technical, and now he's out of the game. That is his 5th personal foul. So I don't know why he clapped after he picked up the 4th personal foul, but he did it right in front of the official. The official teed him up immediately, and Rossick's day is done. 50-36 lead for Fort Lee with 6:37 left to go in regulation. So Rossick has fouled out of this game. He finished with 2 points. Greenberg has his pocket picked by Nunez, but Nunez lost his footing, so Greenberg could track it back right down. Missed opportunity there for a potential fast break opportunity for Nunez and Riverdale. Guy Vickers settled for a long-range jump shot. But again, Fort Lee has to be aware there's still an eternity of time left to go in this game and a very talented Riverdale side. Here's Pantaya trying his luck from 3 in the corner. That hit off the side of the backboard. Max Greenberg weaving his way all the way to the rim, drew the contact and the foul, and that'll send him to the foul line to shoot 2. A reminder, fans, that we will have one last game remaining in this holiday tournament, and that will be for the championship. Old Japan taking on Memorial. Memorial trying to repeat as tournament champions. Old Japan trying to come here and bring home their first holiday championship. As Max Greenberg short on the foul shot. That game will be scheduled for a 6:45 start time. Officials talking to each other. I think they want to confer and see what the foul situation is for both teams. They just changed it to make it 3 team fouls for Riverdale because of the Rossick foul, then the subsequent technical fouls counting as a team foul. So Riverdale has only one more foul to give here in this 4th quarter before it's foul shots the rest of the way for Fort Lee. Max Greenberg goes 1 of 2 at the line. He's got 9. 51-36 lead for the Bridgemen. 2 minutes gone by here in the 4th quarter. Joyce handing it off. Salick. Watched by Vickers. Playing with 3 personal fouls. He's got to be careful. Bruder. Joyce. As Fort Lee once again aggressively defending out well past the 3-point line. Sweeney took his defender off the dribble, went with the float shot, did not get it to go. Here's Max Greenberg bringing it down the other way for the Bridgemen. Jacob Greenberg lets the defender fly by him. Bruder did a good job of poking it free from behind, but out of bounds. It'll stay possession with Fort Lee with 5:22 on the clock. Last season, Riverdale went 1-2 in this tournament, as that's turned over inside. The pass attempt for Guy Vickers evaded him. Bruder open for 3. No good. Threes just aren't falling outside of number 14 in black. David Nunez is the only the Riverdale player outside of Pat Sweeney to knock in a 3. 4 made threes in this entire game by Riverdale. Bruden breaking the full court pressure as Fort Lee will pull it out. 3 minutes gone by here in the 4th quarter. Jacob Greenberg handing it off. Ave Murray getting it off into the corner. Here's a 3-ball look for Guy Vickers. No good. Fort Lee's gone away from getting Vickers involved in the post game. Nunez right to the rim. Strong move there by the senior. He's got 5. 51-38. Vickers right down the middle of the lane. Left the left-hand layup. Short. Joyce did a good job of standing his ground inside the paint. Nunez down the other way. Here's Sweeney for a big 3. Rattled in and out, no good. Murray with the rebound. That would have been huge for Riverdale. Would have made it a 10-point game. Instead, it's going to be still a 13-point margin. Josh Ford will call for the timeout with 4:05 remaining here in the 4th quarter of play and try to talk things over with his offense that have kind of slowed down and You can understand they weren't going to click at the same level they did in the third quarter when they exploded for 26 points. If you're just joining us, Riverdale trailed by only 4 at halftime to Fort Lee, 23-19. But then in that third quarter, paced by the efforts of Jacob Greenberg and Jake Ehrlich, Fort Lee exploded for 26 points. They had more points in one quarter than they did in the first 2 quarters of the game. And that opened up the lead. It was a 17-point lead after 3, and currently it's a 13-point advantage right now for Fort Lee with 4:05 left to go as we reach the midway point to the fourth quarter. Dan Long, so glad that he could join us here for our broadcast coverage. Vickers tried to hand it off. It was anticipated and stolen away. And there's an and one opportunity. Sweeney got met at the rim, but fouled in the act of shooting. That will stop the clock. And not what Coach Ford wanted right out of a timeout. A turnover that led to a fast break opportunity. And Riverdale can pull a little closer, and most importantly, with the time stopped. Sweeney knocks down the first foul shot. He's got 14 points in the game now for Riverdale. That foul was charged to Jake Ehrlich. For Ehrlich, that was his second. And Sweeney knocks it a pair. 11-point game now. Getting closer and closer. Full court pressure being administered by Riverdale. Vickers goes back to track it down. Greenberg passing it up to Murray. Murray tries to get it over to Ehrlich, who was wide open underneath. Just couldn't get it over in time as the foul was administered first, and that is a good foul taken by Riverdale. That is the 4th team foul of the quarter, as the foul is going to go against Pintaya. For Pintaya, that is his second personal foul, so no more fouls to give in this game for Riverdale. Foul shots the rest of the game for Fort Lee. Max Greenberg. As that's going to be a backcourt violation, looks like against Fort Lee. So a turnover gives new life again over to Riverdale. Golden Hawks try to pull closer and closer in their comeback attempt. Deficit is down to 11. Here's Nunez for 3. Caroms off to the far left side. Wrapped up with a rebound by Jacob Greenberg. Full court pressure again being administered by the Golden Hawks. Murray got it stripped away inside the lane. Another big play defensively by Riverdale. It's keeping them in this game. Here's the transition 3. Knocked in by Joseph Salick. And a timeout's taken. And that 17-point lead has been shrunk down to 8, 51-43, with still 3:03 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Fort Lee has been turning it over on a steady clip here in the fourth quarter. Playing almost not to lose, and Riverdale has done an exceptional job defensively of keeping themselves in the game, even when they haven't been able to pay it off on the other end of the floor. The defense has been getting them extra opportunities on offense without that lead growing. But Josh Ford is urging on his team, emotional in his huddle, getting loud to try to have them keep their feet on the gas and try to find their way home. Every time that Fort Lee's been playing here at home this year, it's been white-knuckle affairs. As I mentioned, the 40-39 win against Paramus, the overtime loss by 2 against Passaic in the first game of this tournament, and even their win against Bergenfield, it was 51-43, but it was much closer than the 8-point final. Riverdale outscoring Fort Lee 11-2 in this fourth quarter. Greenberg trying to get it down the floor to Murray. Murray getting it over to Bruden. Bruden couldn't save it. Another turnover for Fort Lee. And possession going back over to Riverdale. 51-43. Fort Lee has committed 2 fouls in this fourth quarter. Kick out, corner three ball, Sweeney, got it! Here come the Golden Hawks. Pat Sweeney, fourth made three of the game, 51-46, and the lead is down to 5. Fort Lee has had a hard time against this full court pressure, and that is a reach-in foul. That is the 5th team foul against Riverdale, so that means foul shots the rest of the game now for Murray and Fort Lee. Fort Lee hits their foul shots, they're going to be in the driver's seat here. Murray 2 for 2 at the line here in this game. He's got 5 points. And he rattles that one in to give Fort Lee only their 3rd point of this 4th quarter. Clutch foul shooting by Nave Murray. He's got 7. He's a perfect 4 for 4 at the line as well. Coming up on 2.5 minutes left to go in regulation. Salick, pass to no man. Ball is loose in the open floor. Bendaya tracks it down for Riverdale. Missed opportunity there for Fort Lee. They had an opportunity to come away with a turnover. Here's Sweeney in the corner. Sweeney's 3, no good. Bendaya trying to tip it in. Sweeney attacks the offensive glass. Ball is loose inside, and a foul at the rim that'll send Riverdale back to the foul line and stop the clock with 2:08 remaining in regulation. That'll be the 4th team foul against Fort Lee. I believe it might have been against Bruden. We're going to say right now it's Murray credited with the foul, his 2nd. And Bendaya, who is so good at the foul line, knocks in that foul shot. So Murray got the foul, his 2nd, team's 3rd. And Riverdale gets 2 clutch foul shots from their big man. He's got 12 in the game. Back to a 5-point lead, full court pressure. Vickers outlets it as Bruden will hold it and wait for his cohorts to come down the offensive end. Jacob Greenberg reversing it over to the top side to his brother Max. Murray for 3. Took the shot well too early in that possession as well. Time is on the side of the Bridgman. That was a quick trigger. I know he's open, but you don't want that. Bendaya knocks in the 3. And Fort Lee's lead, which was 17, has been trimmed down to 2. A 3-pointer knocked in by Adina Bendaya. All the momentum on the visitors' side. What a way to end this 5th place game with 1:39 left to go in the 4th quarter. And again, I understand Fort Lee saw a wide open 3 in their corner. But again, that essentially does not matter. What matters more when you're holding a lead late in a game is running the clock, forcing Riverdale to have to come out and maybe even foul and send you to the foul line. But instead, Fort Lee had the quick trigger. That gave possession to Riverdale. And then the biggest shot of the game for Adina Bendaya. He is now up to 15 points in this game, building off an enormous tournament that he has produced here. And Fort Lee, how can they settle themselves down when they look up at the scoreboard and they see the lead is only 2? Credit Coach Van Saters and his team. Resilient effort here in the 4th quarter. 53-51. Fort Lee in front coming up on the final 90 seconds of regulation. Greenberg picks up his dribble. This is where things could get dangerous. And Clark spun his way in. No timeout was granted to Riverdale. When Clark wrestled away the possession, he then tumbled his way forward and rolled on the floor, and in doing so, that led to the turnover. Murray comes out. Ehrlich will be the inbounder. Into the backcourt it goes to Max Greenberg. Greenberg had it swatted away. Turnover force. There's Sweeney in the open floor. Tie game. 51-all. Pat Sweeney up to 20 points in this game. An improbable comeback here for Riverdale, knotting the score up at 53 all. Greenberg across the lane, and is it going to be a blocking foul? It is, and that'll send Max Greenberg to the line to shoot two with 58.6 seconds left to go here in the fourth quarter of play. What a defensive comeback produced by Riverdale to tie this game up at 53-53. It was a 49-32 lead for Fort Lee heading into the fourth quarter. Greenberg gets all of that shooter's roll to give Fort Lee back the lead. He's 2 for 3 at the foul line. He's got 10 points on the night. Second foul shot rolls off the rim, no good, and a foul underneath against Bruden. And a Riverdale player clutching onto his arm as well. It's Pat Sweeney. That'll be the fourth team foul against Fort Lee, so it would not result in foul shots for Riverdale, but it would be another foul against Bruden. So a big miss there at the line by Greenberg. It's a 1-point game, 54-53 with 58.2 seconds left to go. That's the fourth personal foul against Bruden. And Fort Lee has no more fouls to give. Foul shots the rest of the game for Riverdale. And a timeout granted to Coach Van Saters as Fort Lee was administering the full court pressure. 58.2 seconds left to go in regulation. 54-53. Fort Lee on top. Riverdale trying to produce an epic comeback here. Down by 17 points heading into the fourth quarter. And Riverdale has used their defense to bring their offense to life. They've also started to hit some outside shots. Remember when Joseph Salick hit a big three? And then Adita Pendaya had an enormous three that made it a 2-point game. I said if Fort Lee hits their foul shots, they will bring this win home, but they have not done that consistently here in the fourth quarter. Couple of big misses. Will they loom large? Now Riverdale with a chance to take the lead for the first time since the first half. Salick try to get that one down low, and that's a kicked basketball, so possession will stay with Riverdale. They try to do a little pick and pop and try to find Pendaya cutting towards the rim. Ehrlich with a good kick save and a butte there. That would have made hockey goalies proud. Pendaya will hold on to it. 40 seconds left to go in regulation. We've had one overtime game in this tournament. Nunez looking for some help. Tie up on the floor. Jacob Greenberg, a rugby scrum ensues. We'll see how the officials sort it out. If they're motioning for jump ball, that's going to be possession going back over to Fort Lee with 29.4 seconds left to go. Jacob Greenberg at the bottom of that pile got the loose ball and elicited the jump ball situation. So possession changes, and now it's going to be a timeout with 29.4 seconds left to go here in the fourth quarter, 54-53. Possession for Fort Lee. Again, no timeouts remaining, or no fouls remaining in this game for Fort Lee to use. And the same can be said for Riverdale. So if Riverdale doesn't get a steal, they might administer a foul and hope that Fort Lee misses their foul shots. 1-point game here for Fort Lee on top of Riverdale. Bridgman trying to go to 5-1 on the season with a win. Their next game after the break, after New Year's, will be back home here against Bergenfield, a team that they beat in the last round in the first consolation game that they played. They beat Bergenfield 51-43. Next game on the horizon for Riverdale, they will travel to Paramus to take on the Spartans on January 3rd. Exciting conclusion to this one in our second to last game of this Jack Riley Holiday Tournament. Hopefully everyone's been enjoying this I don't know why Rosick is in this game. He fouled out of this game. And Saters trying to say that was a 4th personal foul. Do they not count does the technical not count as a personal foul? Rosick again, I think he picked up 2 fouls in that one. It should have been the 4th personal foul, and then the technical foul fouled him out of this game. It came up as 5 on the scoreboard again, unless there's a rule that I don't know about, and I've been covering high school basketball for a while. Now they're going to say that he stays in this game. That is a huge turn of events. Wow. Inbound. Jacob Greenberg picks up his dribble, comes back to him. Greenberg bounces it over to Bruden. And Bruden gets bodied that time by Rosick, so after all of that, Rosick does foul out of the game. But he fouls Christian Bruden. And we'll see if Bruden can get the job done here at the foul line. Boy, Fort Lee was so close to turning it over again after Jacob Greenberg had picked up his dribble. His outlet was swatted right back into him. He was fortunate to get that carom where he could dribble it away and pass to a teammate. Bruden too strong in the first foul shot attempt. Another miss at the foul line here in the 4th quarter for the Bridgemen. They have missed 4 foul shots here in the 4th quarter. Bruden's second foul shot also no good. Karem's out, Salick with a rebound. Riverdale just needs a simple basket to take the lead in this game. Nunez for 3, no good. Tipped around, rebound secured, and a foul is whistled. A foul against Fort Lee. That'll send Nick Clark to the line to shoot 2 with 8.1 seconds left to go and a chance for Riverdale to tie and take the lead. Foul went against Guy Vickers, his 4th personal foul. And Clark coolly sinks the first foul shot. Riverdale has knocked down their foul shots here in the 4th quarter. Fort Lee has not. 5 for 5 at the line are the Golden Hawks. And 6 for 6. Riverdale has taken the lead at 55-54. Clutch foul shooting by Nick Clark, the freshman. And a timeout taken, 8.1 seconds left to go here in the game. 55-54, Riverdale on top, trying to come all the way back from down 17 to win this game and finish 2-1 in this Jack Riley Holiday Tournament. Wow, what a game here, fans. All the drama involved in this, a 5th place game. And a reminder to join us for our 4th and final game that's going to be coming up. That's for the championship of this Jack Riley Holiday Tournament. Memorial trying to go for back-to-back titles, taking on Old Tapan. As that game will be coming up after this one is in the books. Fort Lee has had their opportunity certainly to close this game out. Tremendous credit to the resilient effort of Riverdale of fighting back here, doing the little things, and converting at the foul line when they need to. 8.1 seconds left to go in regulation. Inbound to Max Greenberg. Greenberg to Guy Vickers. Vickers across the lane. Vickers up on the rim, off the rim. Salick with the rebound, and that'll end the game. Vickers so close to having the game-winning field goal, but it's Riverdale, a dramatic come-from-behind victory. Down by 17 in the 4th quarter, they come back to win the game and hold on with that last layup attempt rolling off the front of the rim and out. 55-54 win for the Golden Hawks, who go to 3-1 on the season. And Fort Lee, a heartbreaking loss here. They've had a pair of them in this tournament. they lose by 1. They lost 2 games in this tournament by a grand total of 3 points. Riverdale, led by Pat Sweeney's 20 points, and Fort Lee, led by Jacob Greenberg's 15. So the Golden Hawks go to 3-1 on the season. Fort Lee with a defeat will fall to 4-2. What a game, what a thrilling finish in the most exciting game of this tournament here in the 5th place game. So stick around, fans, as we'll be bringing you the sights and sounds of the championship final coming up shortly, as it's scheduled for a 6:45 start time, again with a matchup featuring Memorial and Northern Valley Oltapan. So for our broadcast team, which includes our camera operator, Renee Matisich, and our producer, Dimitri Nanis, I'm Dan Long saying so long from East Gymnasium, and thanks for tuning in to this Jack Riley Holiday Tournament action.